Hey, Bright Lights, welcome back to the Space Doctor series on the Architecting channel. I'm Angela, your host for this series. I'm an architect whose work specializes on research for design for well-being, otherwise known by the fancy term of salutogenesis. Now, you don't have to be somebody who's devoted her whole career to research in this field or even a design professional to benefit. It is really something I have made my mission to help more people be aware of the power of design, the way that it can impact us, and how everybody can make positive changes to their spaces. So to do this, I have created a deck of cards that compiles all of my research, and I use this to create easy to understand videos for you so that you can start to use these thoughts in your own space. So the deck is divided into two parts. The first part is the fundamental concepts of salutogenesis, which at its core are those things that impact the resources we have to cope, whether they're spiritual, physical, emotional, or mental. The other half of the deck uses my background as a feng shui practitioner to pair the 5 elements of feng shui with 5 powerful theories that make up the aspects of salutogenesis. So those are sense of coherence, which is associated with how well we understand our environment, and that is associated with the metal element. Self-efficacy, which is how empowered we feel in an environment, and that is associated with the fire element. Prospect and refuge, how safe we feel, which is associated with the grounding element of earth. Biophilia, how well we are resonating with the natural world around us, which is the wood element. And finally, relaxation response, our ability to reset our nervous system and keep it on a more even keel, which is associated with the water element. So every single week I come to you and I draw a card from each part of the deck, and I pair those together and give you a little bit of a background on how those two particular things work together, what you can do within your own spaces to help make that difference in design, and hopefully make it easy and fun for you to learn and use this knowledge. So this is our special Christmas week edition, and let's get started. So the first thing that we have is in the fundamental concepts section, and this is the HPA, or hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and the oxytocin levels. Now, the HPA axis is part of a neural system in our body that gets turned on when we are stressed out. It is fueled by the hormones adrenaline and cortisol, and it basically is what is the igniter for the stress response. The oxytocin levels in our body are associated with love, with pleasure, with gratitude, with joy. Anytime we're feeling those emotions, our oxytocin levels will rise. Now you can see in the card, I got a crosswalk, right? And stress is red at the top and oxytocin is there in the green, and only one of those two lights can be on at the same time. That is because these are mutually regulating responses in our body. So if we are feeling stressed out, our oxytocin levels are going to go down. On the other hand, if we are feeling any of those feel-good hormones like love, gratitude, joy, happiness, our oxytocin levels are going to go up. And whichever one is rising, the other will fall. So that means we can, yes, consciously choose to do things that make us feel those happy feel good sensations, make us feel love, make us feel gratitude, and that will force our stress response to go down. So that's a really, really cool thing. And I'm sure you can think of lots of things that you could do that would help you with that are lifestyle changes. But when we think about our space, what can we put in our space that is fun to do, fun to look at, peaceful, enjoyable? What could support some of those enjoyable activities within the space? Be comfortable, be something that really does feel like a space we want to be in. That is going to make the difference for us. And if you think about a space you really love, I'm sure you can notice some things about it, whether it's the choice of materials, the colors, the sounds that you hear or don't hear, the view that you have, or even the lighting that is making that difference for you. So those are things we can consciously incorporate into design that will definitely help to raise that oxytocin level and automatically drop that stress response. Now, the second card that I drew from the 5 aspects is the self-efficacy card itself. So this is kind of like the ace of self-efficacy. The other cards that are the prompts for self-efficacy incorporate the fire element and theories that tie back to self-efficacy. But in this case, we can just think about this as the overarching theme of self-efficacy. And this is really rooted in believing that you can. When we are experiencing self-efficacy, we have confidence, we have clarity, and we have purpose in what we are doing. So how can we think of this in terms of design? Well, it means that we can design spaces that give people choice and control. When we can regulate our own environment, change the temperature, change the sound level, move the furniture around, decorate it the way we want, change the lighting levels, we have space that works for us, not space that we have to adapt to. So you can see how that is a big part of feeling empowered in the space. Wayfinding, that is another huge component of self-efficacy, because when we know where we're going, we naturally feel more confident and in control than when we feel lost or stuck. Now, a few episodes back, we specifically drew that wayfinding card, so you can go and listen to that episode and hear more specifically about how important wayfinding is. It's also hierarchy. So have you ever noticed that some spaces are set up to create a real us versus them kind of relationship? So there can be this sense that somebody else is watching or surveilling you, that they are in charge, that you have to ask for permission to do certain things, or that you can't do whatever you want in the space, that there are certain behaviors that are expected or regulated in the space. Now, the opposite of that is when you feel that you can do those things. So think about what might be in your space that might be communicating either to the people that you are designing for or to yourself that you are not in control, that you are not an active participant or equal partner in engaging with that environment. And think about the steps that you could take that could start to change that. So when we put these 2 cards together and we think about self-efficacy specifically through the lens of the HPA axis and the oxytocin mutual regulation, what do we get? Well, we get the fact that the more that we can feel self-efficacy, the more likely we are to have higher oxytocin levels, especially if that self-efficacy can be specifically around how much the space can be customized or made to be used for things that we enjoy, love, or feel good around doing. So the more we can do that, we're not only promoting self-efficacy, but we are promoting the production of oxytocin. So we are giving ourselves or those we're designing for more resources to cope. We're helping them dig deeper because we've kind of alleviated that stress response in the environment and put them in charge to do things that are positive, meaningful associations for them. So if you are enjoying learning about this, and I hope you are, and you'd like to learn more, make sure that you come back every single week, because it's going to be different every time. Even if I draw the same card, it's not very likely I'm going to draw it with its companion card from the other part of the deck. So you're always going to learn something new and different every single week. So make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. It's free. It really does help the channel and help my mission to raise awareness about the power of design for well-being. So take care, everyone. Have a great time, and I will see you next week.